All right, our second layer of resin is all completely cured. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see on the video, but you can really start to see the dimension from the layers of resin between the alcohol ink. So we are going to do our next layer of masking. The nozzle is squeaking on top of the resin. It sounds kind of funny. And I try to get my line as close to my previous line. If you happen to get it a little bit in, you will see the layer of, or the previous layer of alcohol inks, but it also gives it a little bit more dimension because obviously a seahorse isn't flat. And if you find you get it in a little bit too much, what you can do is just use the brush here, and I've done that a couple times, just push it back a little bit. But you don't want to rely on that. It's better to be more precise when you're putting your masking fluid around and avoiding those areas. All right. I think we've got a good enough layer here, and you can see in like these sections here I do put a thicker layer, mainly because I don't want to be getting into that area with my liquid latex and risk going over the edges. So I want to make sure that I get those areas in with the masking fluid. Once again, where did my toothpick go, or my Q-tip, or my thumbtack? It's just hard right now. Any of those big bubbles, pop it. I typically use a thumbtack or a toothpick. This is a dye piercing tool. It will work as well. You just need something with a sharp point. A needle will work. And after popping a couple, I'll clean the edge off. You want a really nice sharp tip on the end, and that's what's going to pop those bubbles. Any of these little tiny bubbles I don't worry about. I only worry about the really big ones, just because I don't want them popping while it's drying and then creating a hole there that alcohol ink can get into. So I'm going to leave that to completely dry, and then I will see you next, and we'll be putting on the mask or the liquid latex. All right, my masking fluid is pretty much dry. There's a few spots that are a little bit wet, but it is good enough for me to add the liquid latex. So once again, putting some tape over some of the bigger areas so that we don't need to use quite as much of the latex. This little corner covered here. Now it tends to like to dribble down this corner here, so I'm trying to protect that. All right. Once again, same as before. Just going to use my little silicone brush here to move it around. Protect all those areas. I'm also making sure to do the edges of the tape so that it doesn't seep under there, especially with this layer because it's the last one. I want as few things as possible to go wrong, or to possibly go wrong. So much easier to just do a little bit of extra protection. I mean, it is easy to fix it with some isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip, but always nice to not have to. And just like before, I'm making sure to go over my masking fluid edge, not just up to it. Touch more. Whoops. I'm working on a little silicone mat. It's actually a baking sheet that I got a long time ago, but anything just picks right off of it. So it's a great surface to work on for something like this, because any of this masking fluid that has dripped off here, once it's completely dried, it's just going to peel right off. All right, once again, any of those bigger bubbles, I'm going to pop them. They definitely don't like popping as much with the liquid latex as the masking fluid. There we go. That's on top of tape. I don't need to worry about that one. All right, so I'm going to let that dry till it's completely clear. And the next time I will see you, we are going to start working on our third layer of alcohol inks. We'll see you in a bit.